Hey everybody, it's Steve, Rogue Scholar. It's been a couple months since I've gone live, and I needed to go live tonight. For myself anyway, even if no one hears me. Um, I felt like I was kind of hiding behind the scenes for too long. I've had some tough stuff going on personally, and been some questions about whether or not it made sense to keep doing stuff, right? Whether or not the work that I was doing mattered, and I feel like it does. I feel like it does. Um, but I want to talk a little bit about why I was questioning myself and whether or not there was value in my work, the work that I do personally, not the organization, but me, Steve Grumbine. And see, I don't really want to do infotainment. I want to be uh, I want to see transformation. I want to see people's hearts and minds changed. I want to see them make change. I don't want to just be a voice waxing poetic on a mic in front of a camera and just people enjoy or don't enjoy or what. I wanted to make an impact. I wanted to make a difference. And I didn't feel like I was making a difference. I didn't see I didn't see the kinds of conversions, the kinds of changes that I felt were necessary to validate the work that I was doing. And we started doing Macro and Chill, which is a new show. It's not really a show, it's a webinar that we do on Tuesday nights to discuss the podcast. And this most recent series of podcasts were with Algerian activist Hamza Hamouchen. And it's incredibly important stuff. And it centers in large part on Palestine. It centers on the Arab world. And as somebody that has lived through all the bullshit about Muslims bad and all the things that we went through with 9/11 and the lies and propaganda we've been pumped through, watching what's happening right now made me get in front of the microphone. This may be only for me. There may be nobody else that finds value in this. This might just be cathartic for me, and that's okay. I'm not ready to get back to Rogue Scholar yet. I still haven't regained that thing that makes me get in front of a microphone and go. I still am not quite there yet, but I'm getting there. But this has been so disturbing to me, what's going on. And I got to be honest with you, for me, I'm an empath, even if it seems like I'm angry all the time, and I am angry all the time. I'd like to believe you're angry too. And I'd like to believe that my anger is our anger. It's not just my anger that I'm echoing, but I'm finding a lot of people are finding excuses to allow Israel and the U.S. to literally bomb Gaza back to the Stone Ages, watching people marched away from their homes. Worse off, realizing that someone in New York City could decide they want to move to Israel, and Israel would forcibly remove a Palestinian from their home to allow someone from New York City to have dual citizenship to move into their home. It hurt so bad because I've asked for help to maintain my own home, to keep my own family, to take care of my health. And I look and I see that. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? And I'm not just talking about the bad guys, whoever the bad guys are. I'm talking about people who I thought I knew, people who I thought were brothers and sisters in the struggle. And they're not. You know, I am someone who, when I'm confronted with new information, I change. I don't stay the same. But I've seen so many people who fundamentally understand things of empire, who understand the way the United States operates, still talk to me about bad China, bad Russia, bad anyone that the U.S. calls bad. You pretty much have to ask yourself, why? Why does the U.S. think they're bad? I'm watching the U.S., watching Joe Biden. I want you to know something. I was absolutely eviscerated when I stood firm against Joe Biden and said, I will not vote for Joe Biden. I was eviscerated by people who said, what do you want, Trump? Trump is going to do all these horrible fascist things. Joe Biden is signing off on the genocide and slaughter in Palestine. And the people that chastised me and ran around behind me and said this stuff have blood on their hands. Those who sat there and fought for Joe Biden, and that may be some of you all, and this is something I want you to come to grips with. You supported a genocidal maniac. You didn't stand tall to fight against this right-winger, Joe Biden. You caved like a house of cards and supported Joe Biden. You made him human. You allowed him to empower Israel to destroy these lives. You allowed that. And I can't get it out of my head. I can't stop thinking about this. I cannot stop thinking about that. Now, getting away from the propagandized and the people in our midst, I think to myself, what message do I have that someone else isn't already giving? Why should I even get in front of a microphone? And then I watch Bree Joy with Richard Wolff, who absolutely shit the bed with one of the worst interviews I have ever seen in my life, with a huge audience, pushing the most economically illiterate shit out there, erasing years of work in one fell swoop because her audience is so much bigger, and it's typically overlaps. In one fell swoop, she was able to undo years of work. And so I look and I say, Gaza, Palestinians, Israel. Fuck. I look and I say, understanding economics, Bree, all the others, completely not getting it right. And then I sit there and realize I'm licking my wounds. I allowed people who didn't agree with my tone, who didn't agree with my message, I allowed them to stop me because I second-guessed myself. I allowed someone who didn't have a meaningful conversion of their heart to impact me. I'm of clean conscience. Do you understand? Even if you don't like what I'm saying, I feel like my conscience is clean because I know that I stand up for the little guy. I know that I stand against oppression. I know that I stand against empire. I know that I stand against war. I know that I stand against austerity. And I know economics better than most lay people I know. And yet I allowed people being blasé and not seeing the transformation and not seeing that kind of activism erupt from the work that I was doing to make it feel like it wasn't worth doing. You know, when I saw that forced march, the evacuations out of Gaza. When I saw that, I'm not anything special. I'm sure a lot of people thought Trail of Tears. I'm sure a lot of people thought about the indigenous people here in the United States and said, been there, done that. I'm sure a lot of people were wondering why all of a sudden the abused was becoming the abuser in Israel. I'm sure it was a kind of a strange feeling for many of us. There's a lot of people whose entire activism has been based on trying to bring this information to the fore. And guess what? It wasn't that I wasn't moved, but I didn't understand that it was my fight too. I didn't understand that. I'm coming clean. I'm telling you, I did not realize it was my fight too. And then I saw people like Mike Norman, who's an MMTer, running around calling people, he called me a terrorist sympathizer. And I think back to many of the other elitist MMTers who distanced themselves from me because I didn't support Joe Biden. And I think to myself, I'm a leftist. But more importantly, whatever title you give me, I care about people. I care about making them whole. I care about the broader image, the broader vision, the broader us, the big we, the royal we, all of us. And so if I break a few eggs making an omelet, I consider it a sunk cost. But I had a moment. I'm not going to get into the details. They're for me to have. And for those who are close to me that know what I went through. But let me just say, I went on a trip. And in that trip, I was able to gain an understanding of some things that I didn't think I knew before, that I didn't know before, that I didn't understand before. And there were things like walls. There were things like barriers, blockers that prevent each of us from having that conversion, from having that change of heart, from being able to see something differently, because we've been lied to forever. As soon as we were born, we've been lied to. And all those lies pile up. And it's abuse. Do you understand? It is abuse. It is societal abuse on our brains. It is capitalism destroying us inside and out. Each of us in a different way. Even those of us who are doing pretty okay are really, really being struck hard by capitalism. Even people who think they got the world by the short hairs are being damaged mentally by capitalism. And you realize in the end that in order to have the kind of change, the kind of heartfelt change that it takes to really, really, really move beyond the space you were yesterday into a new place today and tomorrow, having a casual conversation is pretty good. Maybe it's interesting. Maybe for a moment you have a feeling, you change a little, maybe it sparks an interest. But I've been through conversions, folks. I've been through major life calamities. And each one of them brought about a real substantive change. The other thing that hit me during this trip was I realized I was truly neurodivergent. I don't fully know what all it means, but I believe I'm an undiagnosed autistic person. And I believe that within that space, a lot of the things that I'm able to lock in on and stay rigid on and stay focused on in a way that others cannot is part of that. It's part of that. And I'm okay with it. I'm unmasking. I'm fully embracing these realities. But it became apparent that without a major cataclysmic event in individuals' lives, something that shakes them to the core, most information is just one more piece of information, just one more data point. Really, each one of us has to go to that place, has to face those demons that prevent us from changing and come to grips with it, whatever it is. And I don't know what yours is. And this is part of the problem with dealing with people, with painting pictures of who them, what they are and how they feel and why they do what they do. Those blockers are entrenched in your brain, neural pathways that are just toxic and corroded and just fucked up out of all recognition, have absolutely twisted us from what we were intended to be and what we could have been under different circumstances. And during my journey, I saw myself dead, and I realized I hadn't shown up for my own life in a long, long time. I had counted myself as unworthy to live, that my existence didn't matter. And I started allowing myself, because, look, folks, just because I don't talk about it all the time didn't mean that my bills are paid, didn't mean that my teeth are fixed, didn't mean that all these other things. And so I just started feeling so horrible. I got edema in my feet to the point where I could barely walk. I had an emergency ultrasound on my thighs because they thought I had blood clots. Everything, absolutely everything that was going on in my body was making it so I couldn't even get off the couch. I was starting to have brain fog. I wasn't clear. And folks, I'm sharp as a whip. I am like sharp, man. I'm like right like that. And it wasn't working for me anymore. Something was miss. And if you know, my father died of progressive supranuclear palsy, a brain disease that degenerates and is lethal. It's terminal. There's no treatment for it. You die. And he did die. I've talked about it before. We could solve that if we weren't in a capitalist society that many of you still support. Looking for that change, it's going to require you to decide it needs to change. It's not going to change by me talking to you on the camera. You've got to decide that. My grandmother, from my father's side, died of brain cancer. My grandmother, from my mother's side, died of complications from falling from Parkinson's disease. All of these play into my fear and willingness to just die and let go, because why in the world would you want to pour money into a dude that's missing half of his teeth, who is in constant pain, whose feet are swollen, who's on the short end of an early death, right? I mean, this is what I'm thinking in myself. And I just kept shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And then all of a sudden on this journey, I lost my ego. My ego went bye-bye. Some might call it ego death. And it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. I realized, hovering over myself as I sat there feeling like I was going to die, I was sweating, fever, feeling horrible. I realized as I looked around in my head, cobwebs and filth, trash, the signs of someone who had stopped giving a fuck about their life. And I said to myself, I want to live. I want to be there for my kids. I want to be there. I want to be a change agent. I want to use this brain that I have while I have it for good. And it made me realize I had to change. I had to change right then. I had to change right there. And then it's still hard to be around people because, number one, I told you I'm neurodivergent, so I see things differently. Trying to meet people and talk to people who are fucking lukewarm and thimble deep, can't stay focused on shit, bouncing around, and here I am locked in. And I'm dealing with people that are That's not me. I never was good at small talk. I'm the guy that comes into the party, everybody's smiling, all of a sudden I want to drop in some big heavy thing about austerity. It's just who I am. I can't help it. I mean, I joke, have fart jokes. I'm a child at heart. But in reality, I have tried my ass off to mask to try to fit in. But I don't fit in. And I know it, and I'm okay with it. You know, it's not that I'm so much smarter or anything than anybody else. It's just that I'm differently abled. I'm differently wired. And so the things I'm really good at, I'm really good at. Things I'm not so good at, I suck at too. It's just a different thing. So I've been struggling with why the fuck can't I make people understand a simple concept of state theory of money, that the government creates money? Why can't I make them understand that the dollar is a law, it's a patent? Why can't I make them understand that the fucking reason you don't have health care is because capitalism won't allow your government to take care of you? Because if it does, it's going to knock away their opportunity to make money on you. More importantly, once government makes your life easier, it takes away the ability of the capital class to control you by cutting wages, by cutting hours, by disciplining labor. Why can't I make that stick? Why can I get that? Why can I understand? Why can I stay focused and read and read and read and learn and learn and learn? And why can't I effectively convey that so that people like Bree Joy don't go out there and continue to do stupid stuff with Richard Wolff? What is it about what I do that makes it so I am not asked my opinion even? What is it that I'm doing that is wrong? And I realize ultimately that I'm so far down the path on this stuff that I'm frustrated when I look and my friends aren't right there beside me. They're behind, they're picking daisies, they're picking their nose in the outfield when the batter hits the ball. They're doing something other than what I'm doing. And it deflates me. And it rips my soul out because I'm pouring everything I've got into it. And it's like, my God, what more can I do? What more can I do to get you to hear me? And in the end, I realize it's really not about me. It's about each of us. It's about you. It's about where you are that day. It's about what trauma you went through as a child that prevents you from hearing this stuff. It's about what trauma you're dealing with right now that prevents you from understanding and learning and digging in. Whatever it is, maybe you're fatigued from the fucking news cycle. Maybe this picture behind me right here has zapped every bit of your fucking life and you got nothing left. And so some dude talking about macroeconomics, even if it is going to change the world, doesn't move you. I get it. I wish I didn't, but I do. I just keep looking for that light to go on, that spark that says, I get it, so that we can activate, so we can fight back. But it's very, very troubling in the end. And I haven't gotten over it. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not there yet. I'm not ready to forgive everything yet. You know what I mean? I'm still clutching my pearls because I'm still angry that I've been dissed, that I've been ignored, that my message hasn't hit home. Because I'm thinking, shit, if me, myself, have gone from being a radical right-wing Christian Republican through the libertarian world, through the Democrat world, and then now over here into no man's land as a leftist, as a MMT-informed socialist, an so whatever you want to call me, I don't care. The bottom line is that I'm fighting for all the things everyone I know said they cared about since we started this business back in 2015. I'm still fighting for it. The only difference is is that I don't sit there and wring my hands and go, well, you just don't understand how hard it is to do this stuff. You got to organize, you got to do this, you got to do that. Because I've got to trust that truth will win. I've got to trust that. I've got to trust that somebody's going to hear the message and they're going to tell their friends. And they're going to bring their friends back. And somebody else is going to hear from that group and they're going to tell their friends. And they're going to bring them back. And that's my hope. But as of right now, I'm not quite ready to get back to Monday, Wednesday, and Friday because this right here behind me, I feel powerless. You know what I mean? I feel powerless to make a difference. I feel powerless to do anything that can help or save a single person right now. And I feel every bit of this. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I feel every bit of it. I'm such a deep feeling person. And like, not that I'm good, not that I'm bad. It's just that things I feel. You understand what I mean? Like, I really feel. And I know a lot of you guys feel too. So I guess in the end, this is my way of coming back momentarily to say, you know, I haven't forgotten. I want to keep doing good work. I hope that you all feel that the work that we do here is worth your time. I want to make it worth your time. I want to make it so that it has an impact. I don't want to do infotainment. If I have to do that, then it's not worth doing. So with that, it's going to be a short one. I really appreciate everyone taking a few minutes to join me. Let's keep our hearts and our minds on the folks of Gaza right now because they're getting absolutely obliterated. Straight up genocide. And we owe it to them to do everything we can to bring their plight to the public, to stand firm and not allow it to keep going on. So with that, I just want to thank you all. I really want to thank you guys a lot for sticking by. Please do check out this week's and last week's. It's a two-parter with Hamza Hamashen. Please check out that podcast. It's really important, and it plays right into what you're seeing on the screen right now. And with that, I'm Steve Grumbine, the Rogue Scholar. I'm out of here.